Hey team, and welcome. I'm your host, Carrie, creator of Mother Life, your destination for all things real talk and parenting. This is the IRL group chat, where we talk about the wild balancing act of pursuing careers and passions while also doing our best to show up for our kids. Join me every week as I sit down with some badass parents in my closet and we talk about their careers, kids, and relationships and all of the weird shit that comes up when you're trying to balance the seemingly impossible. Intensity, the tendency to feel things more deeply than the average, to pick up on subtlety faster than most, to be deeply devoted, goal-oriented, unwavering in dedication. It doesn't mean intense people are serious all the time, it just means their speakers are always at an 11. Dialing it back or toning it down doesn't necessarily come naturally. Intensity comes from so many places. It can be something that's born within us or something that is forged in the fires of our youth. It rises to the surface as a characteristic that helps us to navigate uncertain waters later on. Or I'm sure in most cases it's a mix of both, nature and nurture. Having someone in your life who embodies intensity can be, well, intense. When their gaze is on you, a project, a goal, it is all-encompassing. And also, to be loved, seen, heard by someone who is intense is one of the greatest gifts you can ever be given. Because for those that they love and believe in, that intensity casts a glow that is infectious, making everyone see what they see. Diana Sokal brings an intensity to everything she does. Work, philanthropy, parenting, bagged salad. She's a genius when it comes to working with all things celebrity. All things luxury, all things VIP. She's the director of communications for Appa Aesthetic, the destination for A-listers wanting to give their smiles an upgrade. I promise you, I have never seen dentistry look this sexy, luxury, or elite in my life. Before joining Appa's army transforming the field of dentistry, Diana worked in PR and celebrity dressing at Harry Winston, the Harry Winston, storied fine jewelry purveyors for almost 100 years. When she's not at work or up at 5 a.m. for a workout class, sitting on boards of charities, organizing fundraisers, she's spending time with her husband and 2 girls, showing them every day that embracing your personality, your intensity, is a superpower. Enjoy. I'm so excited. First of all, let's say welcome to the virtual closet, because we're not in anybody's closet, but I love that today we're dealing with a longtime listener, first-time caller.
That's right.
And obviously, you know, this is like especially near and dear to my heart because I had Lisa Weinbaum on, who was my summer camp counselor. And now I'm having you, my summer camp camper. It's
Crazy.
Like the circle of life. Like it's exactly as it should be.
So crazy. And I remember the last time I saw you. Do you remember?
Was this when you were here, when you were working for Harry Winston and you were like dressing celebs in jewels for something?
So I think I saw you one time after that at 40 Carats at Bloomingdale's.
Oh my God, you're right.
Yeah.
If we couldn't be more Jewish, like just like 2 Jewish girls. No, you're right. We did. We got froyo.
Yeah. So I remember those 2 times.
And they were both beautiful times. Couldn't be a bigger fan. You were a wonderful camper. But what I'm so excited about is we grew up in the same place but didn't know each other, obviously, because I am significantly your senior. Just kidding. Now it's
How
like...
many years apart are we?
How old are you?
35.
Yeah. Wait, so this is crazy. So I'm 39, but when you're a kid, it feels like a universe. Like I cannot believe that your parents just handed you over to a bunch of 18-year-olds and was like, go with God. I'm sure it'll be fine.
I know.
If they only knew what we were up to.
I feel that when I see my campers now on social media, like living careers and with babies.
Whole ass people. And in the grand scheme of our lives, like you and I are in the same chapter. We both have young children. Like, you know, it's just very funny because it's the great you know what? Parenthood is the great equalizer, really.
Yes, it is.
it doesn't really matter if you had your first kid at 20 or your first kid at 40. When you look somebody in the eye who's going through the same shit as you, it really doesn't matter how many years they've been on this earth.
Totally.
Right? But I'm excited. So we did grow up in the same place. But I feel like we had really different experiences of growing up. And then you have gone on to have this like whole super fascinating career. And in my mind, you are like your own Real Housewife of New York City, because you're just like, you're out, you're in a black tie, you're raising money for causes, you're a woman about town, dealing with celebs all day, fixing people's faces, making dentistry sexy, which is like the fact that is something that has successfully happened will never not blow my mind. And at the kernel of all of this, you're still the same Diana, which is my favorite part. Like I watch the mishigas that you get up to and the things that you post on your work social media stuff. And I'm like, yep, that's still the same girl up to her hijinks, except now it's about a bag salad. Same girl.
Talk about the bag salad.
We will, because I know you're really passionate about that. So we're going to start with
for that. I appreciate hearing that so much.
It's true.
And I love hearing you say it. I've worked really hard to be able to embrace my own intensity.
Yeah.
And I'm in a spot where I can and I do. And so I love hearing you say that.
And what's so funny is I feel like seemingly everyone around you is like, because it can be, if you are in Diana's world, it's a super fun world to be a part of, I think. But everybody's like in on the joke that you have about yourself is like, I am so intense, and yes. I am giving 120 or I'm not giving anything.
Yeah, I live my life in superlatives. Someone once said that to me and I was like, that is spot on.
And I truly cannot wait to hear about your husband as well, because like, God bless this man who is, and this is it's a lot.
Yeah.
So can't wait to hear about who's matching your freak. So let's start with little Diana. Also, just for posterity, how do I pronounce your new last name? It's not so new.
Sokal.
It's Sokal.
Yeah, like Southern California.
All right, dude. Okay, Sokal.
I have a theory that like it was once Sokalski or something, like
it definitely was.
Along the line, it was, yeah.
Yeah, in my mind, I was like, is it Sokol? Like, I was trying to make it more Jewish sounding in my head. Is it Sokol? Sokolberg, Sokolstein? But it's Sokal. But okay, so we're going to start with Diana Rosenbach and get to Diana Sokal.
Yeah.
And get to the two kids. How's your heart rate right now?
I know, I'm a little sweaty. My hands are cold, but I'm sweating. And
Great. We got it.
As you know, I have therapy after this, so
which is perfect. So you grew up you're like a St. Pete or a Clearwater? Which one?
Neither.
You were just Tampa like me?
I was South Tampa.
This is blowing my mind. So in my mind, I had afforded you the cachet of one of the beach towns because I was like, she couldn't. So we were both in South Tampa?
Yeah. Off of West Shore.
I bet you went to Berkeley, didn't you?
I did.
Oh yeah, you read Berkeley. This is all giving Berkeley.
And you went to Tampa Prep.
Yeah, and I'm reading Tampa Prep.
You are, yeah.
Yeah, that is so funny. Okay, and see, this is also where we really differ is I know you still like go back to Tampa. You still have roots.
I do sometimes.
But your parents are still in New York a lot?
My parents, yeah. So my parents have had an apartment in the city since I was a kid. And
I remember because you used to like be like, oh, I'm just at my parents' house by myself. And it was like, you're living above your means, my girl.
Yes.
You don't even know it.
Yeah. Yeah. So we grew up going back and forth, and I always identified with New York City, like knew that this was going to be the place I lived. And every time that my parents brought us back to Tampa, I'm like, why are you making us go back there? It's so funny because my brother, who's 2 years younger, he lives in Tampa and he's Mr. Tampa.
Yeah, that's my sister.
So we just did a complete split.
Well, for some people, I think like the lifestyle, the vibe, whatever really speaks to them. But if it doesn't speak to you, it like really doesn't speak to you.
Right.
There's no neutral. It's not like, oh, it's fine. It's either I love it or it's not for me.
Right. So my parents were still going back and forth between Tampa and New York, and they have a condo in Sarasota, and they lost the home in Helene. the Tampa home.
Oh.
So they're trying to decide what to do with it. Are they going to rebuild on the lot? I'm not sure. But now they're going back and forth between Sarasota and New York.
That's hard.
Yeah.
That's hard regardless of if you have another home. That was their rock core home base. That's really, really tough.
We were in the same house from the time I was born until Helene.
And so now they're kind of in this chapter. Your parents, I've actually, besides probably the day they dropped you off, I don't think I've ever actually spoken to them, but they strike me as like pretty cool cats, pretty like fancy folks who like to be around town. Jewelry? Are they in jewelry? Did I make that up?
Yeah, so my mom do you remember that she had a kids clothing store in Tampa, Kitty Slickers?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, yes, I remember this.
And very smart. So it was a kids clothing boutique, but my mom sold fine jewelry out of this boutique. So smart, because the moms could go and, shop for the kids and covertly buy fine jewels for themselves. I'm not saying all the moms did that, but that was certainly an option.
So funny. Okay, so you always sort of like grew up around seeing nice things, the luxury sort of life in terms of your parents liking nice stuff.
Completely. I grew up going to the Javits Center with my mom and shopping for the things that she would sell in her store. And my mom was always a big discount shopper. Like, I have very clear memories of being at Century 21 or driving to the outlets. We did one of those psychotic things like one Black Friday and got in the car at midnight, and we were there when the stores opened. And my mom really exposed me to the ability to like have a taste for the fine things and get them, like a caviar taste tuna fish budget kind of thing.
Oh my God, I love that. Maybe that's going to be the name of the episode. So good. So, and what was your dad up to?
My dad is a radiologist, and he mostly now testifies as an expert witness. So he's like a doctor lawyer. And I definitely, he is the outgoing one in the family, the performer, so to speak. And so I get that side of me from him.
And what was their sort of vibe as parents growing up? Like, did you get in trouble? You don't strike me as somebody who ever got in trouble.
I lived in fear of getting in trouble.
Yeah.
And I did get in trouble, and at the time it was like so acute and scary. And looking back, I'm like, they were lucky. You know, like the things I did to get in trouble really weren't so bad. But I definitely feared my parents. And to this day, there's that boundary there.
What made you feel that way?
It's a good question. I mean, my mom says more in her silence than she does in her words. And
it's like the long stare.
Yes. I grew up really firing from all cylinders, trying to like read her body language and know if I was or was not in good standing.
That's intense.
It was very intense. There's a part of it that I think was incredibly functional and instructive that I hope to bring to my home. And then there's a part of it that is extreme.
Yeah. You're like, well, this is the thing, right? Is like we get to pick from the menu of how we were parented and then decide what we want to keep. And what was dad up to? What was he like?
My dad was definitely the softer one. And the funny guy. And he was the one that would kind of PR my mom's parenting, so to speak.
Yeah. What she's trying to say is.
Yeah, exactly. And so it was, I got a mixed bag that way, which I think is good.
And in terms of like your brother's how many years younger? 2 years?
2.5.
2.5. Were you, I mean, you give very strong oldest sister energy.
Yes.
And do you identify as an older sister?
I do. And I would be the first to say that my brother absolutely benefited from being the second child.
Yeah. I mean, I feel so bad with my kids now. I'm just like, my son, one day, if you listen to this in the archives of your history, like, I'm so sorry that you were the experiment because A, had you in a pandemic, but also just like you don't know what you're doing, and or at least I was like scared of more stuff with him and didn't know how to navigate and like didn't know how to be as carefree as I thought I would be.
Yeah.
And as a consequence, he's definitely more tentative and anxious than the absolute crazy wild child I have as a second.
Completely. I definitely felt the responsibility as the firstborn. And by the way, my parents would say, and they do say, that like Michael benefited from being second. They feel it too. We're all reading the same book.
Yes. Which is helpful, by the way, because could you imagine if you were being totally gaslit, which I think some people do, where it's just like, what are you talking about? We're the same.
Right. No, my parents are right there. They understand what happened and the responsibility of being a firstborn. So yes, I am a textbook firstborn.
And did you have any idea of, like, did you feel there was any sort of expectation about what you would do professionally?
Yes.
Which was?
Doctor, lawyer, business.
Do you feel like you have ticked that box? Because you're like a little bit left brain creative in your work, but with like a real business boss bitch energy.
You know, it's something that I struggle with. And like I said, my parents say more in their silence than they do in their words. So it's not a conversation that I've had with them. But I know that there was a vision that I would go on to grad school. And my mom is one of those people that's like, great work is just a sign that excellent work is around the corner.
Oy vey.
Everything that's good is just an indicator. And she's like that to this day. And so, I mean, we were just together a month ago and she was talking about someone's career and she's like, you could do that. Right. And it's like, I receive that as like, she doesn't take my career seriously.
Yeah.
And I know now that it's not that. And she just like thinks the world of me and my capabilities, but it's hard not to take that personally. And because growing up, there was this really traditional expectation, it's hard not to feel like, eek,
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And I think, like I was so obsessed with like getting straight A's and doing all the stuff that with my own kids, of course, I want them to try hard. I want them to give their best. And also I just like want them to know that I'm obsessed with them no matter what. And like my value judgment on them has nothing to do with what they decide to do professionally. Like that's like, and I have to as I'm sure they get older, I'm going to have to keep reminding myself that is really how I feel, because it is how I feel. But like, I just don't want them ever thinking they have to do something for me.
Right. That's a parenting line that I'm going to have to walk and figure out. That's one of those things where I can see the benefit to the way that my parents parented, but I also see the cost.
Yeah.
And that's tricky. I say that like I know if I did something well when I hear about it from my mom's friend. I know I impressed my mom when my mom's friend says something.
Yeah.
And there's something that's really challenging about that and really energizing for me. And then there's something about it that's painful.
Yeah, dude. That would kill me. My mom has the opposite problem where she has like an overabundance of pride in me no matter what, that if I hear her describe what my job is to other people, you would think I was president of the United States of America. I mean, I guess that's not like that much. That's like not a very hard job apparently, but like a really hard job, like being a mayor or something.
That's my husband's mom.
Yeah. And so how do you think that's affected him? Is he a little bit more of like a golden retriever-y, happy to be here? What's his vibe?
He is just a very steady person. Like he grew up around a lot of feelings. When his mom's happy, she's ecstatic. And when she's upset, it's devastating.
Yes.
And so he tends to be very even.
Yeah.
And I grew up where it was very like, what are feelings? We don't have those.
Yeah.
And so I am now the opposite of that. Where it's
That's
like
so
I have
interesting.
a real emotional curiosity.
That is so interesting. Yeah, no, but my mom is in our house, if my husband says you've been Ellened, shout out mom, it means that like I'll say, oh, dinner was delicious. And my mom will go, it's fantastic. It's the best dinner I've ever had.
Yeah.
that means you've been Ellened, like you've been gazumped, emotionally gazumped.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm sure there's a lot of thoughts when we get to your parenting down the line that come from all of this growing up. And you knew New York was a place that called to you.
Yeah, I didn't identify with Tampa.
Me neither.
I didn't fit in, and I am so grateful to New York. I'm so grateful that my parents had this apartment, and they were very smart about it. They loved being in New York, and they wanted my brother and me to love it too. And so what they did is they sent me on these summer programs that attracted kids from the Northeast.
Yeah.
And so I had all of these friends in New York, and so I couldn't get here fast enough.
Right.
And so my brother, who really thrived in Tampa, he also had New York friends, but he wasn't as excited to come to New York. He didn't want to miss the birthday party or the sleepover or the whatever. I didn't have that in Tampa.
Yeah. You're like, bye.
Yeah.
Now, Berkeley, shout out Berkeley. No, I don't think anybody from Berkeley is listening, but maybe they will. Who knows? It has sort of a reputation of being like a very competitive place.
Yes.
A sort of intense environment to grow up in. But also, I feel like, or at least at Tampa Prep, where I went, there wasn't like that sort of archetypal high school experience of like the jocks do this and the whatever. What was Berkeley like? Was it a little bit more stereotypical American high school or no?
So I feel like you nailed it. It was very cool to be smart at Berkeley.
Yeah.
At the same time, there were the cool kids, the eccentric kids. So it was a little bit of both. And I would say that I was friends with everyone, best friends with no one. And Taylor, if you're listening, love you, and you were a best friend, but just so to speak.
Yeah.
Friends with everyone, best friends with no one. And really, the group that I identified with didn't 100% embrace me.
Yeah.
Like in my mind, I was a cool kid. But the people that I thought were cool, I was sort of a periph friend.
Yes.
And that was really tough. And that feeling has followed me at different points in my life.
First of all, I wish we had had this conversation sooner because it's very eerie listening to you explain my exact, and now at this chapter in my life, I'm like re-examining all of that as we like make friends as adults and parents. It's like a whole new chapter. And I have my Taylor is Erin. Shout out Erin. I know you're listening. But like besides that one core friend, it was very similar for me. And so now in this stage of life, it's a different thing because people carry some of that same core thing with them. And I don't have that in the same way. So when I'm getting out of Dodge, where did you go to college?
Michigan.
So Michigan is like an entity experience unto itself.
Yes.
Right? So tell the listeners, what is the Michigan experience like for those who have not experienced it?
It is like that movie university experience in the sense of like a true Big Ten school spirit energy. And it was very different from what I experienced at Berkeley, where it was like this small private school. I needed Michigan. I needed a Big Ten experience. I needed the what it looks like in the movies.
Oh my God, wait, before we get to sorority stuff, because I'm sure you were in one, before we get to that, we have to go back to fucking summer camp. Duh.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So everyone's heard me wax poetic about the importance of summer camp, the value of summer camp, and how like the thought of my husband's like nervous about summer camp because he didn't do it. It's like, not Jewish. Like gives me diarrhea that my kids might not go because that's how strongly I feel about it. Yeah. Now for you, what age were you then when you started camp?
I do know. I was in second grade when I went to Coleman for 2 weeks.
Okay.
And I started there because at the time that was the camp that had a 2-week option and Blue Star only had a month at the time. And then when I went into third grade, I switched to Blue Star. And it was all a big change. I went to Shorecrest for a few years. So when I was at Shorecrest, I went to Coleman. And then I went to, switched to Berkeley, went to Blue Star.
Maybe that's why I thought you were a
Over the
beachy
bridge.
kid.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So, all right. So when you, by the way, did you know Brittany Snow's from Tampa?
I saw you, I did know it, I forgot it, and then I saw you post. Yeah.
I posted that, and somebody who I had just seen that day was like, Carrie, she was in my class. And I'm like, what? How? I just, whatever. Also Dochi from Tampa.
Oh.
While we're at it.
Didn't know.
Who knows? Tampa's really having a comeuppance. Okay, so summer camp for you, was it something that was like a family tradition, or were you just like, this is what I got to get out of here?
You know, this is where it's like my parents, I think, really knew their own limitations. And I actually have this memory of being at the pediatrician as a kid, and my mom thinking that she was having a private conversation with the pediatrician, but I could hear. And the doctor said, you know, it's time to talk to Diana about the birds and the bees. And my mom said, you know, she's going to summer camp. I'm going to let it work itself out there. Yeah, right?
Amazing.
And I laugh about it now too, and I have such a different appreciation for my parents now. At the time, that was tough for me because I so wanted the Brady Bunch parents, where you have that kind of conversation and no topic is too much.
I similarly did not ever have that conversation except from like crazy shit my older sister told me, but like, yeah, really messed up my conception and idea about like sex and boys. I actually remember much later in life, you and I having a conversation about birth control. And it was like one of the only times I felt like I got to be somebody's big sister. It was extremely exciting for me.
Oh, I love, see, and that's not even surprising to me because I did turn to people that I trusted and respected as an authority for a lot of the information that I wasn't getting at home.
Yeah.
And so my parents, this is something that they were excellent at. It's like they knew what I needed developmentally. And my mom did grow up going to sleepaway camp. Actually, her dad was the camp doctor. It was a family tradition.
Yeah.
But she really valued that kind of development.
And okay, so also like kudos to them for like knowing that there was something that you needed that they were not prepared to give you. So
yeah, exactly.
Good shout. And so you arrive at summer camp, and was it a magical sort of awakening for you?
Euphoric.
And
incredibly important. That just like, you know, our weekends and summers in New York, like I also credit that with, you know, sometimes people tell me I have like, I never watched the show, but that I'm like Kimmy Schmidt vibes. That like I see the world through rose-colored glasses. I feel like I need to watch this show since I say that.
You are not Kimmy Schmidt, but it's funny. I mean, you do have like, she does have a very radiant smile, as do you. So that I see, but like, you don't give me Kimmy.
So I think it's something to
You didn't grow up in a hole.
No, it's more that like, you know, this need for silver linings.
Yes. Sure.
And just always seeing a glass half full no matter the situation. And like that is very much me. And Blue Star and Sleepaway Camp it's part of that. It's part of how I became that way. That like I just always had this sense of like there is a place and my people do exist. Like I was getting little tastes of that throughout my childhood.
Yes.
So I always, even when times were tough socially, I never lost hope because I was getting little moments of relief.
The best. I wish I could go back to summer camp so bad. I like miss it all the time. Also, just a note on the silver linings thing, you're also a deeply ambitious person. And I think to have the level of sustained drive that you have requires the silver lining thing, or else you'd give up. Like it would be completely thankless otherwise if you weren't just like, success is around the corner. The next thing's around the corner. You wouldn't be able to keep going.
Completely.
So rock on, Kimmy Schmidt.
I am always chasing proof of concept.
Love that. Maybe that'll be the episode title. You've got some good ones. You should be in PR. Okay, so you go to Michigan. You have this like wild, wonderful experience. Wait, do you remember me being your counselor?
Of course.
I mean, I have just such a bad memory. I remember you. I remember a couple of the other girls because, like I said, you have always been you. What was I like when I was 18 years old? Do you remember?
Okay, so I don't remember like, specific things that happened. What I remember are like the feelings associated. And I remember just like thinking that you were that cool big sister. I remember feeling like you really had your feet on the ground. Like I saw you as someone that was really a role model.
I felt especially with your cabin, a very deep sense of responsibility to especially just show you guys that like whatever your bodies were fine. In fact, so much so that I think I gained a fair bit of weight that summer because I always wanted you guys to see me eating. But I think it's, I was starting college and I just felt like I was watching you guys figure out body stuff, and I felt really like responsible. So every meal, I remember that summer just eating way more than I needed because I just was like, this is how you show kids bodies are fine.
Yeah. Right. And so like I got that from you. And I don't think I would be able to like put words to specific memories, but like I said, I got that feeling from you. I felt very safe around you.
You guys had it was a real litty group. Do you still talk to any of your friends from that time?
Some, and like I've run into different people.
It's very funny because there is this like you could not talk to somebody for a very long time and then immediately a shorthand.
Yeah.
I'm the same with and then you went on to be a counselor, right?
I did. And actually back to that, I would say I'm almost closer to old counselors. Wags I still talk to, Fendi every now and then on social media.
You know what? That's really interesting. And obviously, like, I've become really close with my former counselor. But I think as you get older and you start to see those people who were a certain kind of like parents or siblings, like as you age, you just start to see those people differently. And then it's like, oh, actually, like you were a really useful resource. Or like in Lisa's case, she taught me that, boys in white boxers was sexy. Never forget it to this day. And I still bring it up to her all the time. But it's just like, oh, like you were somebody I really came to for stuff. And maybe I could still come to you for stuff.
Yeah.
It's nice.
I also have this thing of like, when I feel like someone has invested in me, I want them to see what that looks like.
Well, we know where that came from.
Right.
The thing is, what's important for you to know is you're crushing it and we're all obsessed with you. So you have massive fucking cheerleaders the world over. And I'm so excited for people to see. You guys know that like I'll ask people like, do you have any fun photos to share in the show notes? And I love that there's one of you putting diamonds on J-Lo. What could be better?
That was,
pretty wild.
A career highlight.
Yeah, which we're going to get to because I think on one of those occasions I saw you on the sidelines. So, okay, you go to Michigan. Do you have the sorority experience?
I did.
No surprise there. And is it everything you hoped and wished it would be?
Yes. I have chills just even from the question and from thinking about it. It really gave me something that I needed.
Just the sisterhood, the like-minded people. You've all reached this point together, and so there isn't the competition of any kind. You're just there to have fun. Were you a party girl in college?
Yeah, I was. I mean, not so extreme, but definitely. I would say more than a party girl, I was boy crazy. And so I feel like those things kind of go hand in hand. And my parents were so strict growing up that was kind of my chance to really figure out who I was socially without a curfew.
What did their brand of strict look like?
Home in bed by 10 p.m.
Right.
I mean, it was like if I was walking in the door at 10:05, they were dressed on the phone with the police.
Oh my God. Okay. Yep.
They were very much nothing good happens past 10 p.m. in Tampa. I mean, Tampa's such a different place today than it was when we were growing up.
Totally.
And by the way, they were different people in New York. They weren't as strict.
Oh, interesting.
And I think that
Interesting.
contributed too to why I associated New York with being this happier place for me.
Because they were happier there.
Right. They were certainly at that time. Now maybe it's different, but they were very, very strict. And so Michigan that was my chance to kind of figure out myself socially and without all of these rules.
Now, when you were boy crazy, I'm assuming at that age, you're just like, I want to go to a party and make out with a cute boy.
You know, I felt like, I don't know if this is, everyone's perception is their reality. So I'm like,
sure.
I would love to ask people from high school if this is how they felt too. But I had this sense that like the cool girls had boyfriends. It was like those two things went together. If you were cool, you had a boyfriend. If you had a boyfriend, you were cool. And like I said, I didn't fit in Tampa. Like I was fair-skinned and freckly, and I wasn't the like tan Hollister whatever that
Hollister, yes, right? Yes.
You know, when I think back, it's like that's what was cool, and I wasn't that, and I didn't fit in, and I didn't get boy attention. I can remember just like kind of lowering my standards and just feeling so desperate to be validated by a guy. And so that really drove me. And when I got to college and people's tastes and preferences were different and I wasn't in that Tampa bubble and some of that attention started to come, I mean, it was energizing beyond words.
Love it. Love it. So you are dating, you're hanging out with fraternity bros.
Oh, yeah.
Or whatever you guys get up to. And when does your now husband enter the picture?
Not until I graduated and moved to school, but confusing because college boyfriend was also named Brian.
Oh, okay. So you did, and at some point say, okay, I'm going to be I'm going to get myself one of these boyfriends that everybody's talking about.
I wanted it badly.
And is there anything you like learned from those early relationships that because I didn't really date very much in general. I went to NYU. Most of my guy friends were gay. It's like part of the thing. And so I didn't really have loads of reference points to tuck into my mind for later of like, oh, you don't want that, or you do want that. Were you kind of subconsciously collecting things of do's and don'ts, or were you just tootling along?
I was a ROM-COM girl. I still am.
Still am.
I have chased that version of romance.
Do you have it now?
Yeah, I do, in different ways and with communication that I never thought would be a part of the equation.
Like, so when I want a present, this is what I'm talking about. Yeah,
exactly.
You don't see that part in the movie.
Right, exactly. So, I wanted that kind of, movie romance.
Do you have a favorite rom-com?
No, I love them all. I mean, Love Actually is probably very high.
I think I could say every line.
Yeah, that's high on the list.
But also, have you watched it recently?
We watch it every Christmas.
I need to do a rewatch. It's been a few years since I've seen it. I need to watch it now again.
I love Crazy Stupid Love.
Good one.
I mean, that just brings me to tears every time. I love a comeback story. I love redemption. I love like a relationship challenge that really is just a grand miscommunication and you find your way back to each other.
So what's interesting, just talking about New York, is New York this time of year for me is synonymous with love because of the rom-coms of my youth, because of like serendipity, whatever. You've got mail. Like so many of these movies that for me, like that I grew up watching, that is I think one of the reasons why I fell in love with New York, because I equated New York as where you go to fall in love.
Interesting.
Most magical place. Still is. I still feel that way.
Yeah.
I think I would love my husband 10% more if we were in New York right at this very moment.
Interesting.
I
remember you saying, because you were here on a trip, and I remember you saying that. Yeah.
It's just the best. Okay, so you graduate. We leave college, Brian, behind?
Yeah. We broke up at the very end of senior year. It was completely disorienting for me because we'd spent, 3 years together, and
It's a long time.
we had planned to move to New York together. And I was fully attached to this fantasy, and I was already envisioning our life together. And it all fell apart senior year, and I was lost. I took it really, really hard. It was that like classic first love, and we were absolutely not meant for each other. But it was painful nonetheless. And he moved here. So he had actually gotten a job in Chicago, and he renegotiated to have it be in New York so that we could be together. And so when he still came to New York, even though we broke up, I was like, what the fuck? Like, this is my city.
Yeah, get the fuck out, Brian.
And that first year or two, like, we were very much recreating the college experience. We would go to the same Michigan bars and do the same kinds of things. I even got together with 2 friends, and we hosted a date party, sold tickets, hired buses. I mean, the whole thing. So we were really bringing college to New York. And my parents said to me, because I was really struggling in that first year, and my parents said to me, like, you're not going to move on if you keep putting yourself in this same environment.
That's some wisdom.
And my parents, they never said, they wouldn't take a really strong position about people that we brought home.
Yeah.
And actually my brother and I we would bring people around all the time, because there wasn't that kind of like,
what are your intentions with my daughter? Yeah.
Yes. Like, to my parents, our stuff, it was all kid stuff. It wasn't serious. It was nothing. And so there was a good side to that, which is like, I had no fear around bringing people home. It didn't really mean anything.
Yeah.
And I think the flip side to that is like, I really craved being taken seriously. And I stayed in things, whether it was relationships, jobs, whatever, longer than I even wanted to, because I felt like backing out was undermining my own seriousness.
I get that so hard.
And I craved being taken seriously. And so my parents, like they weren't really strong one way or another about people. But that first year out of the city, I was still going back and forth with Brian. We would see each other, we would talk, we'd go a month without speaking. I'd be devastated. And then we'd go on a date again, and then he'd ghost me again, or whatever it was. And finally, one New Year's Day, my dad we were in the apartment, and he came in my room in the New York apartment. I was supposed to see Brian that night. We were going to spend New Year's Eve together. And he was out partying with friends, and he just never surfaced. And so I was waiting by the phone, and I never heard from him. And I was absolutely distraught. And the next morning, my dad came in my room and said, you can either keep doing this and years are going to go by, or you can decide that you deserve better, and you will meet your boyfriend, he will become your husband, you will have kids, and I think Brian will still be doing what he's
whatever doing. Brian's doing. Wow, Dad. Standing ovation, Dad.
Yeah, it was amazing. And it really was that kind of parenting that I craved.
Yeah.
Really being like met where I am and kind of put in my place. And that was it. We really never spoke again. And that year I met my husband.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, Dad, I love that. And on the backdrop of all of this, what are you doing professionally?
So that contributed. My dream was to work in TV in New York, and I had these internships at Pix 11. I hosted that TV show in Michigan, and so that was really the dream. And I got to New York, and I was hired by Pix 11, and within weeks, I was like, this isn't it. It was just a different experience. As an intern, I was in a really structured program.
Yeah.
But working, I was a freelancer. I got a schedule every 2 weeks. That schedule could have had 80 hours on it. It could have had 10 hours on it. And it just wasn't a fit for my type A personality. And I think it was all too much for me at 22. Like this relationship that I thought was it fell apart. And then the career that I thought was it wasn't it. And so I was really, I mean, at the time, now I look back, I'm like, okay, boo-hoo. But it felt so extreme.
Yeah.
Just like everything I thought I knew wasn't.
Well, that's the hallmark of that era of our lives, right? Is like everything just feels so much.
So
you just
much.
feel so much.
Right. And like
everything's the end of the world.
Everything's the end of the world. And like I said, looking back, that relationship wasn't it. It was so important and did so much for me, but it wasn't it. And, he actually, I think, was able to see something that I wasn't, because I had and I still do have like a really complicated relationship with endings and how synonymous that is or isn't to failure.
Yeah.
And so I can stay in things that are not right just because it's like, feels like a failure. Yeah. Like I got something wrong.
I totally get that. The first job that I ever quit was like the hardest thing for me to quit. No, second job. The first one was pretty easy because I moved internationally. But second job, when it was time to quit, and I'm like fumbling over my words, the editor-in-chief of the publication was like, listen, Carrie, I think we both know that you're trying to quit right now. And that's okay. We can't give you any more promotions. Like, we can't wait to write you a letter of recommendation. I'm just like crying. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I feel that. So then you realize this is not it. And then how do you end up PRing?
Yeah. So my aunt, who lives in Tampa, she has a best friend who has a son who at the time was a fashion editor for WSJ. And she said, I think you should talk to him. I don't know what he is or isn't going to be able to do for you, but I just think he would be an interesting person for you to know. And that person became a mentor. And to this day is my mentor, Andrew. He's a really special person.
Shout out, Andrew.
He is, a special guy. And so we spoke, and he said, like, tell me what you liked about TV. Tell me what are the things that drive you professionally, academically. And after having those conversations, he's like, I think you would like PR. It's just storytelling, but a different way. And he had a friend from college that was looking for an intern at Harry Winston. And so he helped me actually really understand LinkedIn and how to use it. And he said, get on LinkedIn, see what's out there, figure out where I might know someone, and let's attack from both sides.
Wow, that's amazing.
He's incredible because he really taught me the importance of doing the work. It's great to have a mentor and people who can help you, but you have to do your part too.
Yeah.
And so I applied. I did my part, worked on a resume and a cover letter and all of that. And then he did his part and went to his friend and said, I think you should give this girl a chance.
And was it, once you were in that environment, was it an aha moment for you?
Definitely. And I thought I was going to be there forever. The only reason I wasn't is because the company went through an acquisition. And during that acquisition, the culture changed, the priorities changed, and there was this period of trying to figure things out. And I felt too young in my career to wait that out. I was moving at 100 miles an hour, and I felt like if I wait this out, my skills are going to become obsolete.
And, well, so you are good at quitting when you can see the writing on the wall.
Yeah.
So that's good. Now you're having this kind of wild experience. You're in your early 20s.
Yes.
You're literally, I just remember you would like come to LA for all the award shows and stuff, and you'd be with like these massive security guards with briefcases of like millions of dollars worth of diamonds, and you're dressing all of the top celebrities in their jewels.
Yes.
It sounds like dress up on steroids.
It was amazing. And the perfect combination of so many things that I love. My dad would joke, like, because I was that kid who would buy Star Magazine and Us Weekly at the airport, like $20 later at Hudson News. My dad's like, oh my God, read a history book. But my dad would say, I cannot believe you found a job where you were able to put this whole education to use.
Yeah, Dad, I've been studying for this. This is my dissertation.
Yeah. Yeah, and I really loved it. You know, at Harry Winston, so many times I was in the right place at the right time. So I was the last year of this internship program where the goal was all of the interns became new hires.
Right.
So I was so lucky to be a part of that because I just and it was a paid internship. So I basically transitioned from this paid intern to a coordinator. And then at different times, just when I thought I'd run out of gas there, someone would leave and a new door would open. And so I was a global PR coordinator, manager, something of that sort. And I worked for two people. One, Lauren, she became another mentor figure for me, and actually the godmother of my girls.
Oh, sweet.
She's just a really important person in my life. And then this other person, Susan. And so Lauren really oversaw global PR, product launches, store openings. And Susan was responsible for celebrity. And so I worked for both of them. And just when it kind of felt like, okay, well, are we going to just like stay in this kind of situation? Susan left. And I got very lucky. We were in the middle of award season. And so this job that they maybe would have tried to bring some super senior person from outside, like they didn't have time for that kind of recruiting.
Yeah.
And so I was able to take over celebrity dressing.
Wow.
And it was just incredible.
Unbelievable. And where has Brian entered the picture yet?
Yeah, he did. And, everything happens for a reason. And he actually entered the picture around an award show. And so because of that, I was distracted by work and I was busy.
So you weren't being your normal freaky self where you're like obsessively looking at your phone and refreshing and like, why hasn't he talked to me yet? And so then he's like, oh, she's kind of unavailable. She's kind of a mystery.
Exactly.
Amazing.
Exactly.
You needed the universe to force you to be demure.
Completely.
And you did a really solid bait and switch because then he was all in. And then you're like, surprise, I'm actually this person.
Yeah. The one thing about Brian is he has always celebrated my intensity. He can't always match it.
That's okay.
He has always celebrated it. And he really does see it as such like an it factor for me. And I feel really lucky to have that.
And so when you guys start dating, you're in your early 20s still, early mid 20s. Are you thinking like one day I want to have kids?
Yes.
And
yeah, I knew.
What are your thoughts on it?
I always knew I wanted kids. I always knew I wanted to. I don't know what to make of that. I don't know if it's like I ever thought that there was another option. I don't know. I just always knew I wanted them, always knew I wanted to.
And where did your sort of like interest in, because you're not just like interested in philanthropy, it's kind of this like philanthropy in the social life that is New York. It's a very particular type of philanthropy that if you don't live in a big city, you don't necessarily have it in the same way. Is this something that you grew up with or?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me more.
I grew up with parents who were always philanthropic. And when I was younger and they didn't have the means that they have now, they were always giving of their time. And then, as my parents started to reach new levels of success, then they were able to give financially. But I always had both examples. And it was very much instilled in me that like, whatever you have to give, you give.
And for you, you're somehow also giving quite a lot of your time because you're not just like showing up to the things, you're organizing the things too, right?
Right. So I brought the philanthropic wing of the Appa aesthetic business to Dr. Appa. It was something that didn't exist before I started working with him. And I also do things on my own. So I'm involved in philanthropy, both professionally and personally. You know, one of the things that I've had to like really think about is like, what happens to the front row student who does all the extracurriculars and babysits? Like, what becomes of that person in the real world? And like, that energy doesn't just go away.
Yeah.
And so I had to really figure out what it looks like to recreate that situation for myself functionally. Because
Interesting.
Otherwise I can do really destructive things with my energy.
Yeah.
And so I had a real epiphany around like, right, like when I was growing up, I was getting straight A's in school. I was babysitting. I was a theater kid. I ran cross country. So
and now I'm just expected to go to work and be a parent.
Right.
Yeah. It's not enough buckets.
It's not, for me, it's not.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Because one of the things is, well, first of all, how many hours do you sleep in a day?
It totally depends. Are you asking that because of my morning workouts?
Uh-huh.
Yes. Okay. So it totally depends. I like to sleep 8 hours, but I will afford myself 3 nights a week where it's more like 5 or 6. And I just know that I can't do them back to back.
Yeah. So you basically know that you're like a working breed dog that needs to run yourself.
Yes.
And so you're waking up, that class that you take is what, starts at 6?
Yeah, so I go in studio 1 day a week and it starts at 6. And then the other days I do it in our building gym. And I do it anytime between 5:30 and 6.
Okay. And what time are your kids getting up?
Around 7, give or take.
Okay. Now, when you became a parent for the first time, was it a seamless transition to you to this new role, or what was there anything that you weren't expecting?
So with the first.
Yeah.
When Gal was born, it was pretty seamless. I feel fortunate saying that. I know that that's not everyone's experience. I had a really challenging pregnancy, and so I feel like I was rewarded with an easier postpartum.
Yeah.
And I felt like we were living our life plus a baby. And I wouldn't say that when Romy, our second, was born. That was a real challenge for me.
Because you're sort of forced to slow down. Forced
to slow down, and we were then living their life. It was like, or our life differently.
Yeah, totally. And would you say Brian would say the same?
Yes.
In terms of the change?
Yes.
And wait, when does Appa enter the picture? Appa? I know that you like did a video. Appa. We're going with Appa. Okay. So when does Appa enter the picture?
So I was kind of like, at this crossroads at Harry Winston where it was very much like, I can keep doing this, but it's going to be more of the same.
Yeah.
And I just felt like I'm ready for a new challenge. And what was happening is I was basically living for award season because it was this very intense, round the clock responsibility. And Harry Winston, at least at that time, they didn't pay celebrities. I think they still don't. So there are no like real ambassadors. You couldn't count on anything.
Yeah.
And so celebrity dressing really was like the celebrity had to fall in love with the product. They had to want to wear it, and they were likely turning down a paycheck from another brand. I'm sure this is not a surprise. I was addicted to that challenge.
Yeah.
And it felt like such a win when I could get someone in Harry Winston jewels. And I sent you that picture of J-Lo because one of the things that I did was I would wear something in the spirit of the outfit that they were going to be wearing to the award show. And subconsciously kind of make this connection for them of like, this is it. This is in the spirit of the look I'm going for.
You would wear it?
Yes.
Oh.
And
I hope you guys are taking notes.
I have like a whole album of pictures of like, you know, J-Lo wore this red outfit to CFDA one year, and I have a photo of me in the car and I'm in head to toe red outfit. Or I sent you the year she went to the Met Gala and she's in sequins. I freaking showed up to her apartment in a sequin skirt.
So good.
And it really did, if I was, you know, because it would happen where I'd be in a fitting and I'm standing there with no money to offer, but a beautiful tray of jewelry. And next to me is someone from Tiffany, and on the other side is someone from Van Cleef, and maybe they have things to offer that I don't. But there was something really effective about when they saw me and I was already
matching the vibe.
Yes.
Wow. That's a good one.
I loved that challenge, and I loved having to think outside the box to be successful. And when it wasn't award season, I was just kind of understimulated. And like I said, I had an amazing boss slash coworker slash mentor, Lauren, who really helped me chase my dreams. And she was such a support system for me, and she helped me figure out what was next. And so I could go to her and talk to her, and I wasn't like, oh my God, she's going to think I have one foot out the door, she's going to go to replace me. And
yeah,
I was very lucky to have the kind of leadership that she brought to the team. And a recruiter came to me in 2020 and said, there's this doctor I want you to meet. Yeah. It
and you're like,
randomly.
What? Yeah.
And he said, you know, he's really looking to bring this kind of like PR VIP relations to his practice. And he wants someone with your background. He doesn't want someone from the medical space. And I was like, okay. And so I agreed to meet Dr. Appa. And I left that meeting with a handshake deal that I was going to be working for him.
Wow. Flying. Who knew that it would be dentistry that has you on the private jets, you know?
So crazy. And I called Brian when I was leaving Dr. Appa's office. I said, I took the job. He's like, what job? And I'm like, I don't know, but I think it's going to be life-changing. And it absolutely was.
So for you, what was the life-changing piece of it? I mean, a huge challenge, like you're bringing this sort of luxury VIP experience to dentistry.
Yes.
Was it the challenge of it?
Appa is incredibly entrepreneurial, and he breeds a sort of entrepreneurial spirit at his practice. And it's basically, I call it like a startup with cash flow.
Yeah.
Because even though it's a practice that's been around for over 20 years, he runs it like a startup, and he really gives everyone the room to be creative and to be successful. He will let me take any chance in the world, and it's a learning experience. If it's a win, great, we repeat it. And if it's a loss, we take the learnings and move on. And so I really feel like in his office, it's mine to lose. Like the sky is the limit.
So did he ask you about your teeth when you came in? You got great teeth. Did you guys talk about your teeth?
We didn't. We actually, because it was COVID, I did part of my interview in a mask.
Oh, so he didn't even know what he was working with.
And then like halfway into, he said, you can take off the mask if you want. And I did. And we didn't talk about my teeth.
Very Julia Roberts sized mouth.
Yes.
I mean, what a dream for anybody in dentistry. Now you're in this role. How does it work? Does Simon Cowell say to you, I need new teeth? Or are you going to Simon Cowell and saying, let us give you new teeth?
So it's a combination. And actually what the recruiter who reached out to me, part of his pitch was, so many of your clients are patients.
Okay.
And it will be a familiar space for you. And so it's a combination. There was already a healthy roster of celebrity patients. But then there was a desire for more, because the thing about Appa Aesthetic and Dr. Appa's specialty is he delivers restored teeth that look like teeth.
Right.
So if a celebrity didn't want to say they had an Napa smile, they don't have to.
Yeah.
And he has had celebrity patients come get a smile makeover and go on to become a spokesperson for Crest, Colgate, you name it.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that he really wanted help with was the celebrity piece and angle when so many of the best names were a secret.
That's a fun challenge.
A fun challenge. And also, like, how do you present that piece tastefully?
Right.
Because
yes.
his whole thing really is, it's not fame. It's like his dying wish is to transform dentistry.
No, but
That's it. He
that's
has this vision of like real legacy in the space. And so he wanted to figure out like how you leverage these different things in a way that's not cheesy, because it's not fame. It's industry change, industry status.
I love watching you drink the Kool-Aid. I mean, full support. I love it.
Guzzling it by the liter. Yeah.
Now, in the backdrop of all of this, like I know that you will bring your kids to a work thing if there's you got to stop by the office. What is that balance of cadence like for you on the day to day? I know the kids are in daycare.
Yeah.
And how does it work? Like, what are your crazy hours or not crazy hours? How does it all work?
It's not great. So it's something that sometimes I think I'm doing super well and sometimes that I think is kind of a disaster. But it requires real coordination with Brian. Dr. Appa is in the office half the month. So I will say, I think it's important to say that all the while, like I said, Dr. Appa has really created this sort of entrepreneurial environment and he wants everyone to be their best self. So many people that work for Appa Aesthetic have side hustles with his support. And so I have been able to build an agency supporting other doctors primarily and a jewelry client, but it's largely like people in this referral universe.
Wow.
And so there's a lot going on at all times to make that possible, because people say like, it's okay with Dr. Appa. And I always say like, as long as it's additive for him or neutral for him, it's okay.
Yeah.
The minute he feels like anything else is detracting from what I'm able to do for him, problem.
Yeah.
So I feel a real pressure around that. I feel two things, like the weight of the opportunity and then the pressure to deliver for myself and for him. Brian has to be in his office 2 days a week and he's home the other days a week. So we do a lot of coordination around who's in the office on what days and then what is that person's responsibility.
What's the biggest argument in your relationship? Recurring argument?
Yeah. So I would say it all comes down to showing our work. We are both doers and we can do in silence. Mm-hmm. And then the other person isn't like along for that thought process.
Right.
And that leads to arguments. We had a tumultuous date night. This is now going back a bit. And where I was really excited. I wanted this date night. I was craving it. Again, I wanted that romance. I wanted to be shown a really romantic night. And Brian's like, he's got his shoes on. He's halfway out the door. Like, he is just ahead of me. We are not together.
Yeah.
And he's walking faster down the sidewalk. In my head, it's like, we're going to be holding hands.
Nancy Myers is nowhere to be seen.
So and then we get to the restaurant and sit down. And then he like looks up at me, like ready to tag in on this date night. And I'm pissed at him. Like, I'm like, fuck it. I'm already done with this date night.
Right.
And my therapist said to me, did you ever tell Brian that the date starts the minute you walk out of the apartment? And I was like, no. Huh? And she's like, well, why don't you try that and see what happens? And it was really interesting. I got home, of course, I told him, and he's like, right, no, I was worried because I had this hard to get reservation and I didn't want us to be late. And he had his whole reasons. It wasn't because he wasn't excited about the date or any of these things that I took personally.
Had told yourself,
Yeah. And So I would say we have different arguments that are all kind of that same problem. It all comes from like, we're both just doing and not communicating.
That's so interesting. I don't really know how you have enough hours in the day for everything that you do. Are you a Harry Potter person?
I know. No, I see you post this and I'm like, oh shit, is she going to ask me? I'm not a Harry Potter person.
I honestly, I think you might be a Slytherin in the sense that that's ambition. That's the ambition house. But like Bulgari jewelry, I guess, has snakes. I don't know. But I don't think I was ready for how few people have engaged with Harry Potter.
Yeah.
I think this is really, and I don't know. I don't know if I'm like ready to live in this world where not enough people have engaged.
Do I need to read it? I did read it. Let me rephrase. I did read it, but it wasn't like memorable for me.
I find that fascinating. I'm going to have to, maybe you should ask your therapist about that. I'm just kidding.
I'll add it to my notes.
Yeah, add it to your notes. In this chapter of parenting, you've got 2 young kids. You're both running 1,000,000 miles a minute. Are you thinking about like, what do I want my girls to know about me, or what do I want them to be like?
Yes, all of the above. All of the above. Okay, so, it's interesting when I was thinking about leaving Harry Winston. Susan, who was my celebrity mentor, she, her daughter was a teenager when she was doing celebrity dressing. And I have memories of her daughter being in the car with us, freaking out over the houses we were in and the interactions we were having. And I remember thinking like, shit, like, am I going to leave before my kids can like see me in this cool job? And I really had to have a heart-to-heart with myself around like, okay, like, I don't want to hang my hat on that. Not a good reason to stay. And also like, I hope my kids think I'm cooler for different reasons, not because I put a bracelet on a celebrity. I had to really think about like, what is cool to me?
Yeah.
And so, yes, I have a lot of thoughts around like what I want my kids to see. And the example that I want to set for them. The thing that weighs the most on me is just the idea of being present in their life and what that looks like. The way that my mom invested in the things that I was invested in is like, if I was in a show, she became the box office mom. And when I look back, it's like, I wish she'd been in the front row. And I wish that when the show had ended, we could unpack everything that went into it and her favorite parts.
Yeah.
And so, kids are all different and I don't know what my kids will crave, but I really think about that, like how I want to show up for them and how I want them to feel my showing up for them.
That's so sweet. That's so sweet. Well, I have no doubt that you're going to do it. It's so funny to think about this like oscillation between the silence being heavy to feeling the big feelings to like, I have a feeling your kids are going to get a little bit of a mix. And how nice is that for them? But what they're not going to see is somebody who's not passionate. They're not going to see somebody who's not excited about life. And I think what they are going to feel is probably just a lot of love and excitement from their parents. And like, what bigger gift is that?
I hope so.
And thank you. I know for people, PR, journalists, people who are used to being on the other side, it can be a little uncomfy to get on this side, but I really appreciate you sharing with us.
It was, it was nerve-wracking.
How does it feel now that it's over though?
I think I like blacked out. So
I think you crushed it.
Oh, thanks.
Team, I need your help. If you love it here, please like and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Subscribe to the Substack for full access to this episode's show notes and join the discussion. And of course, follow me on Instagram at Mutha, MUTHA.life for a daily look at all things Mutha. Thanks for listening. Be sure to tune in next week for another Chat in the Closet. This podcast was produced by Mother Life, music by Ronan Landa. See you next time.